Anger, the fire in man. Anger's mother is blame. Most of us experience anger. For some its episodes are few and far between, while at the other extreme are those who are always angry. It affects our relationships with peers, family, friends and others. It affects our performance on the job and hence success. The friendly counselor advises us ways to manage it by various means like count 10, focus on breath or imagine the consequences, but it does not help because reason takes a back seat when anger is ruling over us. This seems to make the case of managing anger hopeless. However, there is a way to manage it. When we enter a dark room and do not know the way to switch the light on, we fumble and tumble on various objects scattered in the room despite taking the precautions. We walk slowly, lean on objects, move over hands to detect any object which may hurt us. However, as soon as we lay our hands on the switch and put the light on, we feel more confident, and all the fear of hurting ourselves by hitting objects is gone. Similarly, as long as we are ignorant of the dynamics of anger, we will remain in perpetual fear of getting hurt and hurting others by this strong emotion. But when we understand the various forces influencing us to get angry, we are in full control, and anger vanishes like the darkness of the room. In order to manage this emotion, the first requisite is that we are motivated enough to do so. Rest is easy. It does not require any willpower to control it because managing does not mean suppressing it. It means letting it flow out quietly. The most important aspect we need to realize is that we give ourselves the permission to get angry to different intensities. We are responsible to manage it. Nobody can make me angry unless I permit myself to get angry. However, in practical life our belief is that people make us angry by doing whatever they do. This brings us to the important characteristic about this emotion, which is that anger's mother is blame. Mostly anger is directed against others while it can also be towards oneself. When I am angry with someone or myself at that time, basically I am blaming others, myself, for having done something against my expectations. Before blame arises, there is this frustration of belied expectations, or it may be some loss or some other primary emotion. In majority of the cases the anger is not the primary feeling. Before anger arises there is some other feeling like loss, humiliation, frustration, hurt and so on. Another important characteristic of anger is that generally it is a secondary emotion preceded by undealt and subconsciously experienced primary feelings. Here comes the crucial factor that helps us to manage anger. There is some time gap and space between experiencing the primary feelings of hurt, frustration, humiliation, etc., and flipping to anger towards others or self. One flips from experiencing the pain of primary feelings in our real self to inflicting the pain on the person who generated these feelings in us by expressing anger from our social self. Actually, anger is an attempt to settle the score without dealing with the primary feelings. Deal with these primary feelings. This is the key to freedom from anger. How do we deal with these primary feelings? By experiencing them fully, attributing the responsibility for them, and then taking remedial action. Let me illustrate it by my own experience. Yesterday a motorcyclist, who almost bumped into my car from behind, abused me for suddenly applying brakes to my car. There was, in split second, a surge of anger and violent feelings in me, but I remained in touch with my hurt at his abuse. The hurt feeling is primary while anger and violent feeling is secondary. I realize that abusing in return is the simplest reaction I can have, but I will not do so. I also reason that anybody can insult or abuse me. It reflects his character, or otherwise not my character. Why should I get hooked to somebody and react in anger in return? Better to examine my own mistake and work on that. That makes me free and in control. This processing of what was happening to me was a way to handle the hurt. This illustrates that feelings like anger may arise spontaneously, but it is possible to be free from their power on me to behave as per their dictates. They also mirror to me my self-image, values, and attitudes. I feel good at having acted that way and it has enhanced my self-esteem. Whereas, the angry reaction would keep me in the old cycle of blaming and lower my self-esteem. Now examine the scenario when instead I would have got angry and violent with him. This would have led us to a street fight, hurt and bleeding noses along with sense of failure and low self-esteem. This amply makes it clear that dealing with primary feelings and not flipping to anger is the way to manage anger. Anger's intensity will be much lower once we have dealt with the primary emotion giving birth to anger. There are many other aspects of anger like when, how and how much to express on which I will not deal. That one learns with practice based on the consequences one experiences. In sum, anger can be managed by managing the primary feelings that give birth to anger. Secondly, by taking responsibility and not blaming others. Thirdly, by being fully aware of what all is happening to us at each moment. It is very easy once we are aware of these dynamics.